Ravi Teja, Sampath Kumar, and then Sanjana, 3 members. You can please, from starting to end, you be there, so that if any interruption or audible, voice clarity problem or any problem, if you are facing our screen is not visible to your end, you please convey to me so that I will correct. Okay,
sir.
let's start with this. Okay, ma, thank you. So
Okay, sir.
today, the 4th unit, the second of C++ templates. So this C++ template concept introduced for generic kind of programming. So till now, whatever the program we have done, that is for specific purpose. For example, if you are creating any function, so in that function we can process with any one particular kind of data type. If that function or that particular class defined for integer or float means, throughout the program we can use only integer and float kind of variable only. But if we want to make a program in generic way, for example, we are going to create one function, the same function we are going to use for integer data type, float data type, character data type. Similarly, the class also, if we want to use the class for different data type, so that is also possible in C++ by using template concept. So that is why this C++ template concept is also called as generic programming, like mathematics formula. So we can apply this formula for any kind of values. Similarly here, for any kind of input, we can use this class as well as the function with the help of template concept in C++. So this is the introduction about this template concept. So obviously it is very powerful feature of C++, which allows us to write generic programs. What is generic program? In simple word, see this one. We can create a single function or single class to work with different data types using this template. So we are going to create only one class, and for this class we can access, we can process with integer as well as float, character, double, any kind of data type we can process with the single template. So this is called a template. Template in the sense we are going to create one function or one class. After creating that one, we can fit with any kind of data type. That is called a template. Okay. So there are two types. One is template class, another one is template function, or else function template or class template. So templates are often used in larger code base for the purpose of code reusability and then flexibility of the programs. We will see that how we are going to reuse the code and then how it is flexible for the programmers to write a program. So there are two types of templates we can create. One is function template, another one is class template. So from this introduction, what we are understanding, so template is a generic programming. Once we write a class or once we define our function, so we can use for multiple purpose. For example, already we have seen function overloading concept. If we want to use the same function name, then we have to differentiate the argument and then data type. Already we have seen. But for that, we have to write the function definition more than once. One time we have to write for integer, another time we have to write for float, the third time we have to write for character. But in case of template, we are going to use only once. Afterwards, any number of time, any number of different data types, we can use that particular function. That is called a template. Similarly, class. So we will take function template and then class templates one by one, and we will see the example programs. At last, we will go through the lab programs also. So definitely this template concept will reduce the code, which means we are going to reuse the same set of code more than once. Similarly, it will be more flexible while writing programs. We will see that one. So first we will take function template and we will see how it is working, what is the syntax for declaring function template, and how are we going to process with the different data types with this one-time definition of function. All these things we will see. So now a function template works similar to a normal function. We know that normal function already, with one key difference. What is the difference? We will see. Now a single function template can work with different data types at once. That is an important thing here. But a normal function can only work with one set of data type. That is a difference. See, if it is a normal function, it will be working with only one set of data type. Either it is integer or it is float or it is mixing means we have to, if you want to use integer as well as float means definitely we need to have two different functions. But in case of template concept, only one function template, single function template, but we can work with different data types. Whatever the inbuilt data types we have, everything we can process with it. We will see that one with one example. So now the same thing already we have done with the function overloading. If you need to perform identical operations means unique operations, integer, separate and then float and then double, character, all these things. But for doing these identical operations, definitely we need two or more data type when we are using function overloading. Same function name, but different parameters. We are going to show the difference in the declaring parameters, which means arguments, as well as in the data type. Okay. So now to create two functions with the required function declaration. But in case of template, we are going to do the same function overloading, but with only one function definition. So definitely this function template will be a better approach for dealing with the different data types with functions. So when we use this one, definitely the number of code also will be reused, which means same set of function we are going to use for multiple times, so that the code also will be reused. So we'll see from the declaration of this function template. A function template starts with the keyword template followed by a template parameters. See this here we have written. Template is the keyword followed by angular bracket. Now HTML we are using HTML tags, the same angular bracket. Within that angular bracket we have to mention the keyword class and then template argument T. You can use any argument. Okay, for understanding purpose this is template concept, so that we are using capital T. So this is the syntax for using template. And now we are using function template, so that see that T and then function name. What is T? T is the template argument. Generally what we are using, before function name we are using return type, either it is integer, float or void we are using. But here what kind of data type the class is having we don't know, because it is generic way we are writing this class program, so that it is called a generic programming or template class. So here we are using function, so that function template. So if you are using this template for class, that is class template. If you are using this template for function, that is function template. So now this template argument and then function name, within the function bracket, generally what we are using here, data type we are mentioning. Now the data type is generic. We don't know when we are running the program what data type we are passing, the value which contains what kind of data type. Based on that, this particular function will react. So this is argument. So generally int and then argument we are using. Instead of data type we are using the generic argument, that is template argument T. And then function body. Here we can write the set of statements. So this is the syntax of function template. So in the above code, T is a template argument that accepts the different types of different data types, integer, float, character, and the class is a keyword. I hope that everyone understand this one. So next we will see the program. Very simple concept only. because function already we have seen, class and object concept already we have seen, lot of exercise programs also. Now we are seeing only generic programming, which means different data types we are going to use for the same function. So as usual, if you want to use the template, then we have to use this keyword template, and then within this angular bracket, we have to use the keyword class and then the argument name, template argument name T. So T we can use, instead of T we can use any name, but the class is keyword, template is keyword, we should not change anything, but instead of T we can use any argument variable. So now here this is function, large is my function. So this is my function. Before the function I have to mention the class type. What is my class type? That is template. So okay, class type is template, so that it is generic based on the what value we are passing from the main function. So this particular class will react. So now within the function bracket we are passing two arguments. One is n1, another one is n2. Both are template. That is the data type is template argument. And then here we are using ternary operator for finding which one is largest, n1 greater than n2. If this condition is true, then n1 will be returned. If the condition failed, then n2 will be returned. This is ternary operator in C++. So now here we are using T, right? So if you are passing integer value, then integer value will be passed. So T will be assigned with the integer by the compiler. If you are passing float value, then this class data type is float. If you are passing the character value, then the class data type that will be represented by template argument capital T. Okay, so depends upon the value which we are passing from the main function, this particular template argument will be reacting. So the compiler will specifically assign the memory for different value in the sense different data type value. Okay, so now we'll see the main function. So here totally 6 variable we are declaring. One is I1, I2, both are integer data type, F1, F2 float data type, C1, C2 character data type. So all 6 variables we are going to use in the same function name. If you want to use the same thing, definitely we have to use function overloading. If it is function overloading, then 3 different function definition we have to use. But here, the beauty is only one function we are using, but we are going to use 3 different data types: integer, float, and then character. So inside the main function, just for understanding purpose, we are printing this enter 2 integers, and we are reading this integer value I1, I2 from the user. And after reading that one, we are calling this function. See, this large function we are calling. So large, within the function bracket we are passing I1, I2, which means here n1, n2. What value we are passing I1, I2? I1, I2 we are reading from keyboard. That value we are passing to n1, n2. Now I1 will be matched to n1 and I2 will be matched to n2. Then this ternary operator will be working. So which value will be bigger value, greater value, that value will be written to the large function, so that after executing this function template, the compiler after completing this function definition, again it will return to the calling function. So this is calling function. This one is called function. So after executing entire statements of called function, then the control will be transferred or go back to the calling function with the value, because we are returning some value. What value it is, integer value or float value, that depends on that. If it is I1, I2, that is integer value. So integer value will be returned to the calling function. Now by using the cout statement, that value will be printed on the output screen. Similarly, here we are reading F1, F2. Both are float data type. Before that, we are informing to the user that enter 2 floating point numbers. So when they are entering floating point number, see that the same function template, previously we were working for integer. Now we are using this function template for the processing float values. And the next third one is character. See that how easy it is. If you want to use the same concept using function overloading, then 3 different function definition we have to use. So now the number of code also reduced, and then the same function definition will be reused 3 times. First time for integer, second time for float value, third time for character value. This is the advantage of using this function template. The same thing we can apply for class, that is called a class template. So what is the syntax? Template keyword and then angular bracket. Within that we have to use the keyword class followed by one space and then template argument variable capital T. So next, if you want to define the function return type is, that class type is capital T, and in the function argument also the data type is capital T. That is a template argument we have to pass. So based on that, what value we are passing from the main function to the function definition, the T will be replaced with either integer or float or character. So this will be the output when we are entering two integer value 5 and 10. 10 is larger. Similarly, these two are float values, then we are getting the larger value, and these two are character value. So always ASCII value is applied here. So small a, capital A 63, then small a 90, 96 something. So compared to capital letter, small letter is having highest value. So that here small z, capital Z, definitely capital Z has the larger ASCII value is printed. So this program using function template to print the largest value. So this is the explanation part about the program which we have seen. So what function we are using? The function is large. Large is our function name. That is defined except two arguments. One is n1, n2 of data type T. So T signifies that argument can be any data type. So first the T is integer and then float and then character in our example program. Next, the large function returns the largest among two arguments using a simple conditional argument, that is we were using ternary operator. Inside the main function, so three different data types we are using: int, float and then character, and the variables are then passed to our function, user defined function large. After that, during the runtime, when an integer is passed to the template function, the compiler by default it knows that it has to generate the large function to accept the integer argument. When we pass while running, okay, while runtime only everything is happening. While running the program, when we are passing because we are entering the integer value or float value, character value, while executing the program from the keyboard we are entering. So that is why it is happening at runtime. So when we are typing float value, then what will happen? The compiler knows that the large function only has to accept the float argument, right? Similarly, character argument. So now what is happening in this function template? Single function template replaced with three identical operations. One is for integer, another one is for float, third one is for character, so that the code will be reused, and definitely it is very easy to maintain. These are all the advantages of using templates. So next one is class template. I hope that function template will be very clear to every one of you, because very simple syntax and very easy to access in our program also. So followed by function template, next concept is class template. So when we talk about class template, extra we have to see, that is object, creating object. Defining a class is similar to defining a function, but creating object, a slight difference is there in code syntax. So after seeing this introduction, we will see the syntax of creating object and then defining a class using this class templates, and then we will take one example program and we will see how we are going to use the same class for different data types. Like function template, you can also create class template for generic class operations. Okay, generic in the sense only once we are creating, we can use it for multiple data types. So definitely if you write a program using template, that is generalized program, it will be working for different kind of data types. So now when we create a class implementation, that is same for all classes, only the data types used are different. See, sometimes when we need a class implementation that is same for all classes, only the data types used are different. In each class, the data type only different. For example, in inheritance concepts also we have seen, right? Base class and many derived classes we have created. Why we have created all these things? For different data types, if we want to process, we are creating more than one classes. So that is not required now. In a single class itself, we can process different data type values. So definitely code will be reused and then easy to maintain. Okay, if you want to go for more than one class, definitely in order to process with a different data type. Now it is not required. Very simple. In a single class itself, class implementation itself, we can process with a different kind of data type. So in order to perform this one, need to create a different class of each data type or create different member variables and functions within a single class. This will unnecessarily bloat your code and will be hard to maintain. So in order to, these are all disadvantages. In order to overcome these disadvantages, we have the concept called class template. It will be making the program very easy. Definitely we can reuse the same class more than once, multiple number of times with the same code for all kind of different data types. Okay. So one thing is, if you want to use with the different data type, we have to create different classes, or else if you want to do the different data type values in a single class, then we have to create more number of member variables, different member variables with a different data type. For example, int a, float b, character c, like that, string, like that. We have to create more number of different member variables, which means number of code will be increased, or else we have to use more member functions within a single class. So these are all the disadvantages, or we can say that same thing we are repeating again and again. So in order to avoid all these obstacles and disadvantages, we have class templates. We will see how we are going to process with it. So first we will start with declaring a class template. So similarly, how we have done for function template declaration. Template is a keyword followed by angular bracket. Inside that we are going to pass the argument. The data type is keyword. The class is the keyword, and then T is the template argument variable. So as usual, when we are creating a class is a keyword and then class name, and within the this class we have to use that member variable and then member functions, all these things, whichever we need we can use. So generally how we are doing, int a, which means a is a variable, member variable, which belongs to integer data type. Instead of that, now what we are using t and then a. What is the meaning? A is the member variable which belongs to any data type. That is the meaning of t. T means template argument. If you are passing integer, then t will be replaced with integer. If you are passing float, then t will be replaced with float. If you are passing character value, then t will be replaced with a character. That's it. So this is member variable and this one is member function. Generally the class contains two things. One is member variable, another one is member function. Okay, right? So this is the declaration part of class template. Is it clear? My voice is clear? Presentation is getting properly? Are you getting? Sanjana?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So how to create a class template object? Now, as I told you already, how to create the object. Generally, how we have to create the object? Class name followed by object name, semicolon, that's it. If you want to pass the parameter or constructor, then we have to pass the values. But now, in case of class template, how can we create an object? See this? This is the way we have to create the object. Class name followed by, see this, angular bracket. Within this angular bracket, we have to mention the data type of that particular class. If you want to access those class for integer value, then we have to mention here within this bracket. For example, class name is student. Student is my class name, and then this angular bracket. Inside that, this class I am going to use only integer values so that the data type is int. And then object. The object of my class student is stu. So this is the way we have to create object in case of class template, which means after this we have to use only integer value for this one. Similarly, we have to create any number of object with different data types. So here we have done, see this, integer, float, string, character, double, like this. That is the only difference. So this is a simple calculator program using class template. Just you observe it, you can easily understand this one. You know, one glance itself, you will get to know what it is. These are all required header files, and then template, declaration, and class. The class name is calculator. Here we are dealing with the data, so that we are declaring using private scope resolution. So here T, this. These two are variables, right? Member variables, num1, num2. So both are belonging to class. What class data type? We don't know. So that is why the class template argument we are using here, T. And then public, here we are using method function. Here also we have to use this T, and that is missing. So here we are defining the function, or else it is not required because it is not function template. So only it is normal function. Okay. So calculator is the, sorry, constructor, right? See this, the class name and then constructor name both are same. So here we are using constructor calculator, and this is parameterized constructor. So two arguments we are passing, n1 and then n2, both belongs to template argument, which means which data type we are using, based on that T will be replaced. So n1 will be assigned to num1, n2 will be assigned to num2. So these n1, n2 we are going to pass from the main function. So numbers, first we have to read num1, num2. After reading that one only, we have to assign the value. So when we are reading this one, at the time of creating object, right? So next 4 functions we are using, operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So each and everything we are going to call the function, add, subtract, multiply, divide. See this? So these are the function template now. So calculator, this one is constructor for initializing the value to the member variables, 2 member variables, num1, num2. In order to initialize the values for the num1, num2 member variables, we are defining the constructor. When this constructor is invoked at the time of creating object for the class calculator. So now values, member variable values initialized. And then in order to perform 4 different operations, generally in calculator we are using addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. For that we are creating the function template here. Add is one function template, subtract is another one, multiply, divide. So all these, what is the type? T, that is return type is template argument we have to pass. So inside each function definition, we are returning num1 plus num2. Okay, num1, num2 only. Because if you are passing integer value, then this first function, add function, will return the addition of two values, subtract function will return the subtraction of two values, similarly multiplication and then division. Now we'll come to the main function. In this main function, I already told you how to create the object in case of class template. Class name. What is a class name? Calculator is the class name, followed by, within the angular bracket, we have to mention the data type, what value we are going to pass, integer value, and then int calculator. What is my object? For meaningful way, we are creating the object here. Before calc, we are using that int. Int represents this particular object created for the integer. So int calc, here we are passing two values. One is 2, another one is 1. So num1 will be assigned with 2, and then num2 will be assigned with 1. Similarly, we are going to create another object for passing float values, float calc. So two things we are using. Similarly here, num1 will be assigned with 2.4, and then num2 member variable assigned with 1.2. This is constructor. Okay, while creating object, constructor is invoked. Already we have defined the constructor with two arguments using template argument type. So after creating this object, we are calling this one display result. So in this display result only, we are going to print that one. So cout float results. Here float calc dot display result. We are calling the display result function. Already we have written display result function. Just a minute. Okay, so this one is display result. Sorry, here some mistake is there. This function is actually display result. Okay, here. This is the function that is display result. Missing, that part is missing. Display result. So this is another user defined function, display result. Within this, these are the content. Okay, we are printing this addition value, subtraction value, product value, division value. So one is constructor definition we are using, another one is one user defined function, that is display result is the name of that function. Okay, and then we are using 4 different function template. So with this we can produce the result. When we execute this program, what will happen? So the first object when we are creating, 2, 1 will be assigned to the constructor, which means num1 is having 2, num2 is getting that 1 value. After that, this display result function will be called. When it is called, what will happen? Display result function, when it is calling, so inside this display result function, we are calling add function separately, subtract function separately, multiply function, and then divide function. When we call this add function, then control can be transferred to the corresponding function definition. Similarly, subtract, similarly multiply, and then divide. So that addition, subtraction, multiplication, division will be performed. Then the resultant value will be returned to the calling function. What is the calling function? Here. See, these all calling function. These are all called function, template function, called function. Now we are using the same set of code for integer value, float value, character value. That is the advantage of this template concept. I think everyone got this point. With this idea, now we will move to the this lab programs. You just work out with this template concept for class template as well as function template. Only one function we are defining for different data types we are using. Similarly, only one class we have defined, but we are processing with the different data types. So function template we have understood using that finding the largest number. Similarly, this class template we have understand by using a simple calculator by performing 4 different operations with different data types. So these are the explanation part of that above program. I mean the example program of class template. Now we'll move to the lab program. So this is the 12th exercise, first program. So first we need to read the question. After reading the question, we have to make all the class name and then variables and the function name appropriately. Whatever the variables and methods they have given clearly in the question, based on that we are going to write a program. So write a C++ program to create a template T. Already we have created. See this one, just I am highlighting, just you observe that one. So for better visualization, you can use laptop, mobile phone not suitable for seeing this one. So we have created the class template T, and then what is the class name? Class name is maxi, because we are going to find out the maximum value, so that the class name is maxi. That also we have done, class and then class name is maxi. And what they are telling in the question, having 2 data members. So 2 members, they are not mentioning the member variable name, but we can declare for our own. 2 data member variable we have to create. One is A, another one is B. See this? Both are dealing with data, so that we have declared in the private scope. Whenever we deal with data, we have to declare as a private, so that only we can protect from outside of class. So these 2 member variables A and B, what is the data type? Template argument. T is the data type. So depends on the value which we are passing, the T will be replaced. So done up to that. Next, what they have given, which are inputted by a constructor, which means we have to give the input for those 2 member variables through constructor. So we'll see class name is maxi. Here we have defined the constructor. See this one, constructor. This is parameterized constructor. So we are passing the values through x and y variable. X will be assigned to A member variable, y will be assigned to member variable B. In this way, we are inputting the values to the member variables by defining the constructor. So when this constructor is invoked while creating object, that's it. Up to this we have completed, right? And then a member function getMax. Now what they are telling, we have to create one member function called getMax. In that we have to write a code for finding the greatest of 2 numbers, and then the result will be written to the main function. That is what given in the question. Read it once. So we will do that now. We are going to create a getMax function. What is the type of that function? T, that is template. Template argument is the type. And here we are using ternary operator in order to find out the maximum value, and we are returning this, whether if it is integer, then T will be replaced by integer. Float value means already we have seen, no need to repeat again and again. Okay, I think you all understood. So this user defined function getMax will return the maximum value to the calling function. What is the calling? Where is the calling function? Calling function inside the main function. That is what clearly given in the question itself. Okay, return the greatest of 2 numbers to the main function. Now after executing this called function, the resultant value will be returned to the calling function. Where is the calling function? Calling function is here. See this? For object, this is the calling function. For object 1, this is the calling function. 2 objects we have created. Object is for integer values. Object 1 is for character values. Okay. So this is the 12th exercise, first program. Similarly, 12th exercise, second program also there. That I have given for your practice. You can go through that. That is also class template only. Just read the question. That is very simple program only. Searching here values. For example, you have to write a program using class template and function template. I am talking about 12.2. Okay, 12th experiment, second program. I am giving idea. So just you have to read the 2 values or 3 values from the user through keyboard. After that, you have to store it into the memory, and then you have to ask the user through that output screen. Now the user is getting that which element you want to search. This keyword, this particular statement should display in the output screen, and now the user will enter that any one value which already previously entered 3 values. Okay. And then your program has to give the output that, okay, whatever the value you have entered for searching, that value present in the particular element, which means the first position or second position, 0th position, like that. So this is the question for 12th experiment, second one, by using class template. That you can do it. So with this, today's session is over. If you have any queries, you can ask me. Now I'm going to enable all your mics. So those who are having doubts, you can ask me.